Have you ever walked into a room, sat down without saying a single word, and watched the entire social dynamic subtly shift around you? You haven't done anything. You haven't made a dramatic entrance. You haven't spoken. Yet, within minutes, the air feels heavier. The superficial small talk freezes. A person across the table suddenly becomes visibly defensive, while someone else feels an overwhelming urge to confess a secret they've been holding for months. For a long time, you probably thought this was your fault. You grew up believing you carried some kind of social awkwardness, a strange heaviness, or that you were simply too much for normal people to handle. You watched others navigate parties and casual gatherings with a seamless, effortless lightness, while you felt like a walking lightning rod in a thunderstorm. But what if the discomfort you feel in social settings has nothing to do with awkwardness? What if it is actually the result of a highly sophisticated, incredibly rare cognitive architecture? In behavioral psychology, this is known as involuntary exposure. There is a specific subset of the population, mostly consisting of rare personality profiles like the INFJ and hyper-tuned empaths, who possess a nervous system so sensitive that it acts as a literal frequency disruptor. You aren't failing at social interaction. Your mere existence is actively stripping away the social masks of the people around you. And in a world built on performance, nothing is more terrifying than someone who forces you to face your own truth. The neuroscience of the human radar. To understand why this happens, we have to look past the vague, feel-good spiritual labels and dive straight into neuroscience. Every human brain is equipped with a network of cells called mirror neurons. These cells are the biological foundation of empathy. They allow us to read facial expressions, decode body language, and unconsciously mirror the emotions of the people we are interacting with. It's what keeps society cohesive. However, neuroimaging studies show that in certain individuals, this mirror neuron system doesn't just function, it overloads. If you carry this trait, your brain has a radically low filtering threshold. The average person's brain treats 80% of environmental social data as background noise. It filters out the slight tremor in a colleague's voice, the micro-expression of resentment that flashes across a friend's face for a millisecond, or the tense posture of a partner saying, "I'm fine." Your brain doesn't filter any of it. You register the spoken words, but you simultaneously decode the hidden reality underneath. This is a cognitive function called emotional dissonance detection. When someone says one thing but feels another, it creates a psychological friction. To the average person, this friction is invisible. To you, it vibrates like a loud, jarring alarm. But it goes deeper. Through a process called reflective resonance, your nervous system doesn't just absorb this hidden tension, it acts like a satellite dish, amplifying the emotion and broadcasting it right back into the room. But it goes deeper. Through a process called reflective resonance, your nervous system doesn't just absorb this hidden tension, it acts like a satellite dish, amplifying the emotion and broadcasting it right back into the room. When a person who is secretly harboring guilt, insecurity, or anger sits near you, they suddenly feel those suppressed emotions rushing to the surface. They don't the science behind it. They don't know that your nervous system is simply acting as an emotional mirror. All they know is that when they are near you, their mask slips. And because your presence makes their inner dishonesty unbearable, their survival instinct kicks in. They must either overshare and confess to relieve the pressure, or they must leave the room entirely to get away from the mirror.
Part 3. The hidden physiological toll. Living with this kind of neural architecture is an extraordinary gift when calibrated. But for the first few decades of life, it feels like an exhausting curse. Because this processing happens completely below your conscious control, your body is constantly locked in a state of high hypervigilance. Studies on hyper-empathic individuals show a consistent pattern. Chronically elevated cortisol levels, a hyperreactive amygdala, and disrupted sleep architecture. This is why you can attend a low-stakes social gathering, a simple dinner or a casual meeting, and leave feeling as though you just ran a marathon. Your physical body was sitting still, but your nervous system was doing the heavy lifting of processing the unexpressed emotional trauma of 5 different people simultaneously. And there is a darker, more insidious cost to this hyper-awareness. When your internal radar is constantly tuned to everyone else's frequency, your own emotional signals begin to drown in the static. You become an expert at diagnosing the hidden pain of a stranger. Yet when someone asks you what you want, what you need, or how you feel, your mind goes completely blank. You have spent so much time managing and absorbing the external emotional climate that you have become a stranger to your own internal landscape. Without intentional intervention, this gift doesn't just serve others, it slowly erodes you from the inside out. Part 4. The sacred archetype of the backward walker. Modern psychology is only now starting to put names to this phenomenon, but ancient civilizations understood it deeply. They didn't pathologize it, they didn't try to medicate it or force these individuals to conform to standard social expectations. In the indigenous traditions of the Plains tribes of North America, specifically the Lakota, there existed a highly revered, sacred role within the community, the Heyoka. The Heyoka was literally translated as the backward walker or the sacred clown. They were individuals who were recognized from childhood as being wired completely opposite to the rest of the world. If the community was moving in one direction, the Heyoka walked in the other. If the village was experiencing a time of intense grief, the Heyoka might crack a joke. If the tribe was becoming arrogant, the Heyoka would bring a sobering, heavy gravity. The elders understood that the Heyoka wasn't being defiant or difficult. They understood that the Heyoka's nervous system was a natural correction mechanism for the group's energy. The Heyoka was a living mirror. By acting backwards, they forced the people of the tribe to look at their own illusions, their own hidden hypocrisies, and their own suppressed truths. But notice a crucial detail about how ancient cultures treated the Heyoka. They were held in a specific, protected community container. They were given periods of absolute isolation and solitude. The tribe knew that an ungrounded mirror would eventually shatter under the weight of everyone else's reflections. Solitude wasn't a luxury for them, it was tactical maintenance. It was a diagnostic reset to clear the corrupted data of the crowd so the mirror could remain pure. Part 5. reclaiming your design. If you have watched this far, it is because you recognize this weight. You know exactly what it feels like to carry a signal that is too powerful for the rooms you currently inhabit. So, what do you owe yourself moving forward? First, you must stop engaging in the exhausting, soul-crushing emotional labor of trying to make your signal smaller just to keep mediocre people comfortable. You cannot rewrite your nervous system. If your presence forces people to confront themselves, let them. You are not responsible for the discomfort that their own dishonesty causes them. When people walk away from you because you are too intense, understand this clearly. They are not leaving you. They are fleeing the reflection in the mirror. Second, you must treat your isolation not as a lonely withdrawal from the world, but as a mandatory, non-negotiable operational reset. If you do not build walls of solitude around your life, the world will happily consume your energy until you have nothing left. Your depth is not a public utility. It is a private sanctuary. The world is crowded with people who are terrified of depth, who spend their entire lives performing version after version of who they think they should be. They don't need another polite, superficial acquaintance to help them maintain the illusion. They need a disruption. They need a mirror. You are not designed to fit seamlessly into every room. You were designed to change the temperature of the room. The moment you stop apologizing for the intensity of your design and start living inside its boundaries is the